Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Gav and this is a quick review, first impressions of the Ensis Roger Parawing. Like with always guys, please like and subscribe, share it, really helps me grow, make more content like this. All right, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so I've not had this Parawing for very long, but I have spent a lot of time on it in a whole host of different conditions. I've been completely overpowered on one session and then really struggling to get up because the wind was so light on another, and everything in between. I think I've got a really good handle of where it sits in this very early market of Parawinging, and I'm going to share that with you right now. So first of all, I want to talk about some of the features which may seem gimmicky, but really they make a massive difference. So the first one, I'm going to talk about the canopy itself, specifically the colors they've used for it. So they've elected to go for very bright, in-your-face colors, which is a great thing if you're doing sends offshore. You want to be able to be seen if things go wrong. And secondly, it's the fact that they have made the leading edge a different color to the rest of the canopy. This is genius because when you're in a mess, it can be the difference between you getting up into the air and having a huge cat's cradle and it being flipped inside out. Trust me, this has made a massive difference. They've obviously put a lot of thought into it. Well done. So the materials they've elected to use for the canopy is slightly heavier, thicker and more durable than what I'm used to with the BRM. Now the big advantage of this is obviously the longevity. It's also going to hold its shape better and be just generally more robust. The negative being is that it doesn't pack down as well, and we'll get onto that in a little bit. Now another feature I really like is the fact that they have colored the leading lines differently to the rest of them. Now this may seem insignificant, but it can be the difference between grabbing them and sorting out a mess or spending 20 minutes with a cat's cradle out in the open ocean. It's a great feature, they've really thought about it. And this leads on to the bar itself, where again, they have colored the bar so that you know which is the top and bottom, so you can grab it straight away to pull it out of the water. It's this little attention to detail that you can see throughout the entire manufacturing process, which is second to none. In fact, the bar itself oozes quality. It's obvious that it's come from a major brand with a lot of R&D behind it. It's quite obvious that Ensis have got their reputation attached to this product, and they certainly haven't let themselves down. So in terms of other features, they've also added a D-Power bobble to the bar itself. Now, this isn't my cup of tea. I have used it a few times and I'm not a big fan, if I'm honest. I prefer to connect it to the rear lines, the brake lines. I find it sits in the water much better to be able to redeploy. Conversely, the advantage of it is that if you don't want to wear a leash at all, you do always have this little red knob that you can hold on to if things go wrong. So actually, it's not necessarily a bad thing at all. Now, the other thing that I noticed as soon as I pulled it out the bag is that it's a higher aspect than the BRMs. Now, this means that it goes upwind much better, but I was a bit worried that the turnability would suffer, but that wasn't the case, and I'll go on to that in a moment. So the overall quality of the wing is excellent. You can see from the fittings, the connection points, attention to detail everywhere, what you would expect from a brand like Ensis. Okay, so let's move to the on-water experience, which is really the meat and bones of this review. So the moment I got up onto foil and started flying it, I was blown away by how stable it is and how forward it sits in the window, which means you go upwind really well. Now, obviously this is great because the further upwind you can go, the more Ks you can eat up on the way down again. With a bit of practice and a bit of technique, I'm definitely going upwind as well as all the wings out on the water. Now, in terms of a gust response, well, it's a very different technique than the BRM, which uses a concertina type effect when it gets overpowered. The Roger Parawing folds in at the wingtips, which basically reduces the surface area of the Parawing. The negative of it is that you do notice an increase in drag, and it definitely sits further back in the window when you do so. So you have to do a lot of trimming. Now, because of this fact, I found that riding it with a harness was not as efficient as riding it without. So after the first session, I actually ditched the harness and just went freestyle. This is actually a bit of a big deal for me because when I'm winging, all I do is use a harness, and also with my Parawing up till now, again, I've just used a harness throughout. But you know what? It wasn't so much of a big deal, and after a few runs, I got used to it. I mentioned earlier on in my video that it has a high aspect ratio, and I was concerned that it might not turn as well as the BRM. Now, I couldn't have been more wrong because actually it is incredibly responsive. In fact, I think beginners might find it a little bit twitchy. Once you get some experience and some hours under your belt, you'll find that that twitchiness turns into performance and responsiveness. And that's something that you want in a Parawing, especially when you're doing quick turns. It feels really playful when it's flying, but without being uncontrollable. In terms of pack downs, well, it is a 3 meter, so packing it away is pretty easy, to be honest with you. I think even a novice will pick it up pretty quickly. It'll be interesting to see when they bring out the bigger sizes, how the thicker material will have a difference. I guess time will tell. Now, interestingly, I did find the lines were pretty long for a 3 meter. Look, it wasn't an issue at all for that size, but again, it will be interesting to see what they do when the bigger sizes come out. I hope they keep that length of line and don't extend it, because it will make packing down harder. Look, Ensis have done a great job with this Parawing. They have got a concept and moved it on to the next level by introducing features that make the user interface much better. It turns really well, it's responsive, and it goes upwind like a rocket ship. It is a little bit disappointing that we've only got a 3 meter, but I can understand why they've done that to get the product out onto the market. It has actually surprised me how little wind I've been able to get up using a big foil and a big downwind board. I'm really looking forward to them bringing out some bigger sizes, because I think it will open up Parawinging to a much larger audience for people that don't live in really windy conditions. Well, there you go. There's my initial thoughts on the Ensis Roger Parawing. It's a great product. They've obviously put a lot of R&D into it, and the attention to detail is second to none. If you've got any questions, please type them in below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. All right, see you on the water again soon. You.